Hello there, I'm MetalTuna and welcome to this deck list for set 4 of Lyrical Herminia with her powerful mechanic. This is the upgraded version from that set, and I'm just going to get straight into it. Of course, I haven't to rep, of course, the deck box. This is, I had to get it as soon as I saw it. I really love the Halloween theme of this set, and I really love Enduring Beauty Hermina. Of course, we're going to start with the ride line. As you can see here, we're running a little bit different from some lists I've seen, but some lists are running this, so so we're going to start off with Rabina. This is the law-friendly starter for Powerful. I only learnt this recently, so I decided to go with this, especially as I could have it as an affordable SP. I was originally running the Hololive SP, not an SP. I was considering the SP one, but then I saw it was 80 quid, and I was like, no, thank you. I would like it, but no, thank you. So next, we're going to, of course, go into Laranji. Laranji, of course, being the grade 1 4 powerful. Of course, she is going to start off with the soul in her, and she does not have the freedom to just be played on top of Rabina. So, of course, you're going to have to discard a card to ride her, and then, of course, if you haven't gotten a way to get anything out of the soul, you can use her ability of Soul Blasting 1, discarding a card to draw a card, which is, it's alright. Bit horrible if you haven't got anything in your hand you really want to discard, but you sort of have to prepare yourself for that. But of course, now we have the likes of some cards that can now get a powerful unit out of the drop, so it becomes a little less painful. So that is usually what I then go for. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So of course, her second skill is when you've got nothing in your soul, you can then just ride the next card for free. So, and this is Erntes. I don't know how to say this name properly. My brain does not want to say it properly. But this is just a nice card because it just gives you 2k as your Vanguard. So you're running with a 12k. If you've got a booster, you're running 20k attack. That is quite a nice turn 2 play that I like to do. This is usually when I then go into a rush sort of format of just trying to do as much damage as possible, especially when you have some very nice units on your grade 2 turn. But of course, we'll get to that when we get to grade 2. And then, of course, for grade 3, you can run the dress up one, but it's very situational on your damage. If you just get damage denied, there's nothing you can really do. While this Hermina still allows you to use a skill. Of course, it's a bit risky because you kind of want to make sure that you're in a good place for your damage. But I kind of okay with just spending that counterblast, especially if you've run into, because you're going to be able to compensate it with a counter charge. And also you've got your counterblast reduction, so stuff will be able to go off quite nicely. But I wanted Coming Beauty Hermina rather than Enduring Beauty Hermina, just because there's times where you're not going to be able to do Enduring Beauty, especially when you want to restand, and having the 5 attacks all the time would be nice, but if you're not at that golden 3 damage. There's some games where I'm on 0 damage going into my grade 3 turn, and when I hit grade 3, I'm then just can't really do anything with her skill, but I can still at least be some sort of a threat. But if I'm on Enduring Beauty, I'm sort of waiting and relying on my damage. So I kind of want to be able to sort of toolbox if I want to actually can do anything with Herminia at all. Of course, you know, you're going to be then relying on searching for Enduring Beauty, but we have 4 in this deck, as I'll show later on. But yeah, so this is my red line. I think I'm going to go into my triggers now. So we are going to start off with, of course, a very threatening build. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 critical triggers. You know, we're trying to max it out as much as possible. And it's just going to be the standard one because we don't want the effect ones, because we don't want to be doing any additional effects at all, really. It's just going to be straight up, just we want to hit them. Plus, we've got that 15k shield, which is really nice. And of course, as you can see by now, I am a very high rarity on this because this is my favourite deck, so I want it to be as high rarity as possible. Oops, sorry, I've got hiding one of those cards. Of course, I'm probably not going to invest all of them. Invest money into the triggers because I'm not. They're too expensive. Especially if I wanted to do all of them. I was happy to do a couple because I got them quite cheap. So we have our 8 critical triggers. We have 3 front triggers. So this was a decision for guard and also just to increase them numbers, especially when we're on those turns where we get to past. Having a turn where people will be like 2 pass and then your first one is the front. People are like, oh no, this is dangerous, this is a problem. And that's where those 8 crit are going to come in, because then it's like, wow, you're getting extra damage too. And that is very nice. So, of course, we have got heals. I had a little pause there because I couldn't find my 4th heal, but there it was behind the over trigger. So we're just going with the basic ones. My reasoning for this is that the non-basic ones, the skill ones, they're situational, and I'm going to be honest, I don't really often see heals to hand, and if I do, I see them too early, and I don't really get the chance to hold on. This is a deck that can be really aggressive on turn 3. So when I get a chance, I'm going to just try my best to just hit face, hit hard. And that will be done with plenty of guard. And maybe it will change, you know, as I'm constantly keep on playing this deck. You know, I've played this upgraded one maybe 4 times now. But I will change, and I hate the fact that I have one art that is different from the rest. So I'll probably change that because I don't know why, and I kind of want the Halloween ones because I've got the cute cat on. But yeah, 4 regular ones can be changed. Don't really mind. Ratios probably would put 1 or 2 of maybe the multi-attack in one. Just because that's kind of what everything goes on at the moment, is just multi-attacks. And of course the overtrigger. So this one's a problem for me because I am drawn between between 3 really. Of course I'm going with the lyrical one for now. Just because it's just bigger columns really. But with the way that Enduring Beauty does things now, it's making me think of either going for the crit one or the blue one with the restand. this is just so that, you know, your rallies are big usually anyway. You know, you're looking at like 40 persona, pretty good when it's boosted 48. So with this, given 10 to everything, it just makes that even more powerful, especially if you've hit a crit on your rally turn. So when your rally restands, you're then going to be swinging again. So this is kind of why I went for the lyrical one for now. I probably will change it up, and I probably will just give it, you know, I'll probably just switch it up, just see how I feel about things. You know, having a deck that is going to be attacking 6 times thanks to the overtrigger will be quite nice. Especially if your rally hits, like say, a critical trigger or 2, you know, that is really threatening. And of course, you've got the power as well. But yeah, this is the overtrigger I've gone for now. So let us get into the grid ones. So we're going to start off with the old guard from the decks. So we're starting off, so because we now have space for 50 rather than 46, some builds I saw before the 50 ran 2 of Signy. I love Signy. Signy is really good for that restanding. Of course, her skill is when you boost a unit at the end of the battle, it restands. So you're constantly getting that 8k going off. And her second skill is Counterblast 1, and she can give 5k to another unit. So with this, I don't really use her 5k skill because the Counterblasts are more valuable elsewhere. Because I'd rather use that on Herminia or Coming Beauty, or I'd rather use that on Relly. Those are the two that I spend the counterblast on. It's just an optional thing. Of course, there's situational things where I'll have to use counterblasts and I won't like it, but I'll have to do it. But yeah, for Signy, I thought it was a nice option. Especially with how things go. And of course, we do have Musetta. We have, of course, our counter charger. This is going to be the card that makes us be able to use Relly for a second drive when they restand, basically. Because she's going to be boosting Herminia. Herminia, then at the end of the battle, after she's give 2k at the front row, because that's what she does when she boosts Herminia. She'll then go to the bottom of the deck and then she countercharges. So, one thing to remember as well is that the 2k stays once Musetta has been used. So, you've got a little bit extra power on your rear guards that will restand thanks to Musetta. So, 4 is a guaranteed need, especially with that countercharge. Because there's not really that much countercharge you can use in this deck. Because Lyrical is sort of limited in that way. So I really wanted to make sure that. Of course, if anything changes in the future where we can actually do an additional countercharge, that will massively help this deck. Because then, if you have 2 rallies on the field, you'll be able to then use this, use Herminia's reduced by 1, and then you're really going to be threatening. So yes, so had to do for Musettas, had to be done. Next, we will go with this. So with the new set, we are running 2 Libeta. So the reason I'm running 2 is because I'd rather be using Signy than Libeta. Libeta is really handy. It's really good when you're just grade 2, just being able to bounce stuff back to hand. You know, it's bouncing, you know, pieces that you want to keep. And also reusing your searcher, which is something that I really love. And, you know, all it requires, as you can see here, is at the end of your turn, if you have 5 or more units with a powerful ability, you may return all rear guards in the same column as this unit to hand. So that means itself, and that means the card in front of it. So that is going to be really nice. And then, of course, if you have a Vanguard with Herminia, its card name, your soul has no cards. This unit gets 5k shield. So it can use itself as a 10k guard as well. So it's quite nice in that as well. And then, of course, as I said previously, that there's cards in the deck that can help get it back out and back onto the field. So it's sort of like a free 10k, because it'll just come back onto the field with the help of a grade 2 card that I'll show in a bit, if you're familiar with it. So next and last, we are running, of course, 4 PGs. We've got the 2 world exclusives, and then we've got the 2 Halloween ones. Yeah, just, you know, the standard skill of if you've got 2 or less cards, you have to discard 2 or more cards, sorry. You have to discard on 2 or less. If you have 1, you don't need to discard. But really nice, because I do not like discard. Right, so here we go. On to probably the fatter part of this deck is the grade 2s, and of course we'll start with the old crew again. So we're going to start with 2 Nalfas. Not Nalfa, Nala. I've mixed that up with Alpha. So I'm running Nala because I want to be able to get something out of the soul on grade 2. And this is basically mainly in case I don't hit a Rally or what's your name again? Custodelia. That is, so basically this is the counterblast. Basically that is going to help just get something out of the soul. And of course as well, it does gain the power if it's against a grade 3, so that is quite nice as well. But this is also the card that I don't totally mind discarding, just because there's better grade 2s in the deck. But I don't really want to rely on Helfer, because Helfer cannot get stuff out of the soul. So I just wanted just a little bit extra just to make sure I don't get stuck. So that's why I went with that. So on to the next one. And we're going to go with, of course, the one from the case opening I just did. Unfortunately, I didn't hit an FFR because I don't have any FFRs of it. It is Relly, which is extinct on the market from wherever I've looked. So that's sad, but here we are. Relly, this is probably your star of this deck. It gets you a soul blast, so you're instantly already going to be powerful with no soul. And of course it gives 5k to Herminia, so Herminia is going to be swinging for 18k, and that is ideal. And of course the thing that most people hate about powerful is this card performs drive checks. So this will help you on your grade 3 against a grade 3. You're just going to be counterblasting 2, get your 10k, and then of course if you're against a grade 3, you're now performing drive checks. So now you're at 20k by yourself. With a booster you're at 28, and that is very nice. And of course this is probably the card that you want to be attacking with the most, because you're going to be drive checking, and then when Herminia makes it restand, hopefully you'll have a Signy behind you, so your Signy will be giving you another 8 again. But because of Musetta going back to the deck and counter-charging, and then the counterblast reduction already from Enduring Beauty or from Coming Beauty, you're then going to be able to just swing again. So that is really nice. But like I said, only one of them if you're running two. So your options can then go to something else. So let's go on to the next one. So if you aren't up to date with promos, this is probably the best promo that I have used in any deck I own. Mainly because I don't own a lot of promos because they're expensive. But this one is cheap and it works in friends, so 40 and powerful. And that is Storeless. My foil ones are in the post, and I will have them at some point. But this is fantastic. Absolutely love, love, love this card. So what this card does is that if you have a total of 3 or more rear guards with the friend ability or powerful ability, this unit gets boost. Yes. So all you need is 3 or more units with powerful or friends if you're playing 40, and you can get yourself boost as a 10k. But the skill that I really love, and this is what I've been referring to earlier by saying you can get cards from the drop, is that when this card is placed on rear during your main phase, choose a card from Soul and put it into drop. So there you go, you've got another grade 2 way of getting stuff out of Soul. So if you're Nala's, if you don't want a Nala, this is also a really good card, but this does not count as a powerful or friend card. There is no keyword for powerful or friends. It just says that it works with powerful or friends. So just to be careful with that. So, but basically it says choose a friend ability or a powerful ability, choose a card from your drop, and then and it has to be a friend or a powerful card. And you can call that to rear guard. If you call the card, you cannot call a card from the drop until the end of turn. So you can only do the skill once. So you can't do like Storeless because you're only going to be able to benefit from it once. So it's very handy just to hold on one. And likely with the way that powerful wants to set up, you probably will only have one on the field unless you're really desperate and you then can just have 2 20ks here. But you're not going to be able to restand with the Herminia skill. So just be wary of that because only powerful units can restand through Herminia's skill. But I love this card. Absolutely love this card. This has been a really good card, especially for discard issues, especially because, we at least have to discard twice because we have Ranji's skill and then the discard from grade 0 to grade 1. So it's nice just to be able to be that, and also for PGs as well. So you can just PG a piece away and they can bring it back. And also it's really handy for bringing back Herminia's as well, because you have our newfound friend Libeta. Because she's going to be bouncing stuff back and likely you're going to have a full board, she is going to help you bounce stuff back to your hand. So you can bounce back a Herminia back to your hand from drop, and then you can discard that Herminia for a restand skill. So you're less worried about pieces because of Libeta, but Libeta I don't think you want to be running 4 of. But it might change. I haven't tried it, to be honest. I just like Sigourney because Sigourney is a constant column, so you're just going to have that little extra power, and that's what I kind of quite like, of course, being a powerful deck. Then, our second last grade 2, we are running 2 of Halfa. So, Halfa, as I mentioned before, she does not get anything out of Soul, but, if you have no Soul during my turn, this unit gets 10k, so it's a 19k attacker, and that is really, really good, especially now we have Enduring Herminia, because she was an option previously, because as a restander, which was really nice when you didn't see any rallies. What I might do in the future, I might actually just get rid of Nala. It just depends on the next few games I'll probably do. I'll probably see if how often I see Nala and how often I see everything else. Because if I can see the grade 2s that just get stuff out of Soul, I'll just point over to Halfrin. Because Halfer also, when it's chosen by the ability of your rear guard with Herminia or Hasric, because it is a Hasric card as well, because it is from the festival set. What it does is it counterblast one and it draws a card. But because of Herminia's counterblast reduction, it's free, so you just draw a card. So if you really wanted, if you saw no rallies, have 2 out, attack, Enduring Beauty, bam, back up, 2, draw 2 cards. And of course, it can also, on Common Beauty, Herminia, it does the exact same thing. So of course you'll want to be using this with Signy, and of course if you really wanted, Light Bounce back to hand. But yeah, so on to our final grade 2 of the deck, and this is the new one from the new set, and this is Custodia. And this is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. This is exactly what we needed in this deck. We needed a searcher, and that's exactly what Custodia does, and she Soul Blasts. And just so I can read it easier, when this unit is placed on rear guard, if you have a Vanguard with a powerful ability, Soul Blast, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 card with a powerful ability and a different card name from this unit. So you can't be constantly, so you wouldn't be able to do a double Custodia if you'd missed a Soul Blast, which of course you don't want to be doing anyway, mainly because you're then going to have to discard to ride. So this is very, very nice to be able to just be like, I'm going to search top 5, I'm going to find a rally, I'm going to find, a Musetta, I'm going to find a Herminia so that either I can dress up or I can, discard a Herminia for the restand if needs be. So you have to reveal it. You call it to rear if it is a grade 2 or less card, and put it into your hand if it is a grade 3, basically. If you put it in a hand, you then have to discard a card. And then, of course, shuffle your deck. And, of course, another one in that if you're Vanguard with Herminia, and your Soul's no cards, this unit gets 5k, so we have another 10k here. So this is just really nice, because that means now we have 6 cards which have 10k shield if needs be. If you're like, I've found all my pieces are on the field, I'm just going to use these to guard. So very nice options in Powerful. And yes, absolutely love this card. So good. Now, we are on our final set of cards of the deck, because I only run 1 grade 3, and of course it is Enduring Beauty Herminia. This is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So now we have the dress up ability where it counts as Coming Beauty Herminia, so we are going to be persona riding when we ride over our LSR Herminia of Coming Beauty. Basically, what she does is, during your battle phase, if you have in your damage zone 3 or more face down cards, the cost of all abilities of all your front row units with a powerful ability is reduced by 1 counterblast. So that means this. Bam. Auto unit skill. So you're going to just be drawing a card. Very nice. Relly, if I can find where I've put her. Where have I put Relly? Really? Her rojects are auto abilities. Now it's now one counterblast to do her skill, which of course, when it's on your first swing before the restand, you can now counterblast one to do. That means if you have two, that means you're easily going to be able to do it more. So you have a bit more of a threat when you have two rallies on the field, because usually you would be eating up 4 counterblasts from 2 rally attacks. And now you're going to be in 2, and then when you restand, you then can do it again. But you can actually do double again. I didn't think about that. Because it's only 3 that need to be face down. So if you have spare, you can then double A again. So because of Musetta's counter charge ability as well. But of course, we also have, as a counterblast skill, no, actually ignore me on that, because my brain was thinking that you could do something extra with Nala, and that is not the case. I'm not cooking during the deck list. So, yes, so she will help you use your rallies a lot easier. Them two are going to work together, and they're going to cause problems for your opponent, because now they've got potentially a chance of getting critted even easier. So, her other skill, which, as I referred to earlier with the restand, is a bit different from Common Beauty, because Common Beauty, her skill, of course, was just counterblasting one and gaining 5k. Now, the restand ability of Common Beauty was at the end of the battle it attacked, and you had no face-up unit in your damage and no soul. So this is very different from Enduring already. And of course, you discard a card from hand at the end of the battle, and then choose one of your rear guards with a powerful ability and restand it. And then you reduce the next counterblast of your next counterblast by 1. So already you're doubling up on the counter reduction, and also the difference is that you only need 3 damage to actually do this. But of course you need to persona ride on the turn, so you need to so if you soul blast out your Herminia, get it back in the hand, and then no, sorry, I'm being dumb. I'm being very dumb. If you persona road this turn, this cost may be paid with counterblast instead. Now that is very good, because you're gonna have counterblast spare now, because you only need have 3 face down cards in your damage. So that means you're gonna have at least at most 3 available, but also your Musetta is also going to counterblast reduce. So you're going to have a little bit less to play with Rally. With this skill, if you choose to do it via the Persona Ride counterblast. Other than that, at the end of the battle this unit attacked, if your soul has no cards, discard a card with Herminia from hand and restand all your front row rear guards with the powerful ability. So you're still going to need your powerful abilities on the front row, but now you're going to be able to restand them by just discarding the Herminia if you do not Persona Ride, and that is really nice. So you're gonna have 4 chances to do it. If you use a Storless in Libeta, you're going to be able to do it more, but hopefully by that point the game will be over and you've won, right? You've won. Because you don't want to be in the long game, because your damage is only going to take you so far, because you can only heal so much, you can only countercharge so much, because don't forget that your Musettas are going to the bottom of the deck. So if you don't have a steady supply of Musettas, then there's not going to be a chance that you're going to be able to use Rally as freely as possible, especially when she loses her abilities of, the 10k, the whatever you've got on a drive check at the end of that turn. So this should be sufficient. I haven't had any issues once I've been able to get onto my second grade 3 turn, because I've always seen a Herminia, either thanks to Custodia or I just started with it in hand, which is really nice. And like say, in the option to just choose between Common Beauty and Enduring is really, really nice, especially as when you're Persona riding, you're then going to be taking Common Beauty out, usually because of Rally's 5k, so you're always going to likely have an 18k. If you're really unlucky and don't see Rally, then you've got options. I mean, Signy, I skipped on before, but she also can take cards out of Soul, but that's after she's boosted a card, so she'll restand and you'll then also take a card out of Soul if you have one. So she's an easy fix of your Soul on grade 1 if you're really struggling and you're like, I don't really want to discard a card and you can attack on grade 1, she is a good option. And that's also how you can fix this too. And like I say, of course, we have now got the bounce back thanks to Libeta, so now you can get more Herminias if you use Stolas with them. So that is also a nice option as well. It's just a nice, we now have a deck that helps itself a lot more at the end of set 3. We finally had a bit more oomph to us with this deck, but it was like you spend your stuff and then you can't really do anything because you'd be able to swing once with Rally, counter charge, swing again, and that was sort of it really. But now because we've got more counter blast to play with, this deck becomes even more fun. But yeah, I think that will be it for now. Absolutely love this deck, and hopefully this won't be the last powerful deck list, and hopefully I'll have some new cards to show you in this deck sooner rather than later. Alright, I've been MetalTuna. I'll see you upstream. Keep thrashing and keep splashing.